Squirrels belong to the genus of rodents of the squirrel family, and, perhaps, they are the cutest representatives of rodents. In addition, squirrels have an excellent mind that allows them to solve complex problems in search of food. For example, squirrels hone their skills in overcoming obstacles to bird feeders and in their selfless desire to get to tasty seeds and nuts they have no equal. It looks very funny. Another feature of squirrels is that they love to play, and for their games they often provoke cats and dogs to join their games. In this episode, we look at the funniest moments with squirrels. This fat cat does not intend to chase the squirrel, but having laid down in front of the nut, he imposes his lazy game on it, not allowing it to approach the nut. The squirrel also acts cautiously. And this domestic squirrel couldn't find a better hiding place for nuts than in a dog's fur, and the dog, in principle, doesn't mind. The dog patiently endures all the squirrel's antics and does not pay attention to it. This squirrel is less fortunate. The dog next door to which it lives does not have thick fur, but still the squirrel is very happy to have such a huge and harmless friend. This squirrel, realizing that there is an insurmountable obstacle in the form of a window between it and the dog, allows the dog to take a closer look at itself and provokes it with its equanimity. Teasing dogs is a favorite pastime of squirrels. Dogs are not lacking in dexterity, and therefore keeping up with a nimble squirrel is not so easy. So this dog was embarrassed in front of his owner by chasing a squirrel. Provoking the dog, the squirrel descends lower again and again, so that the dog's excitement and hope of catching the impudent squirrel do not fade away. And this squirrel found itself in a very sticky situation. The tree on which it was trying to escape from the dogs turned out to be too thin. The dogs found an exciting activity. In their attempts to get the squirrel, they almost broke the fragile tree. And the squirrel will probably be more selective in the future when looking for shelter. When the dogs understood how to act by swinging the tree, the squirrel was forced to flee to a more reliable shelter. This dog also does not lose enthusiasm running around the tree, but the squirrel is clearly bored with him. He runs slowly. And here the squirrel provokes the fox, but she quickly lost interest in chasing the squirrel. If the fox had managed to catch up with the squirrel, then she would have been in trouble. This shepherd is very keen on chasing the squirrel and does not take his eyes off it. The squirrel uses a cunning trick to move to another tree. It jumps onto the lawn and runs to the next tree. The squirrel used a similar trick more than once. The dog gets very close to the squirrel each time, but the squirrel manages to escape each time. Things are different with cats. You need to act more carefully, and a cat can climb a tree, so you can't let your guard down with cats, and squirrels know this. The slightest mistake and the cat can catch the squirrel. For example, this squirrel almost got caught. While the white cat was distracting the squirrel's attention, the black one crept up from below and almost caught it. And this city cat saw squirrels only on the screen, but the hunter's instinct has not gone away. The squirrel should be somewhere nearby, but for some reason it is not visible. and this squirrel wanted to climb into the feeder, but she saw a cat under the tree. The feeder no longer interests her, and in order to tease the cat, the squirrel even went lower. Gambling is a priority for this squirrel, and the feeder can wait, unlike a cat. This cat was the closest to success. He hid in the grass and the squirrel did not see him, approaching closely, but still luck was on her side and she was lucky not to fall into the clawed paws. And this young cat saw a squirrel for the first time through the window. The squirrel had also never seen this cat before, so we met. The next meeting will be in the garden. Although this cat seems fat, his reaction is fine. The squirrel decided not to risk it and hurried up the tree. After warming up a bit, he went on about his business. Walking proudly, the cat does not lose heart. He will be lucky next time. Some cats behave so insecurely that the squirrels don't even think about running away and even attack themselves. And here the cat watched for too long as the squirrel peeled nuts, and the squirrel was on the alert all this time and was preparing for his jump so that they would dodge in time. But the cat never chose the right moment and even turned around to leave. Then the squirrel decided to show the cat how to hunt, and with a precise leap she rushed at the cat. But not all cats are hostile and chase squirrels. For example, this fat red cat and the squirrel are best friends. The squirrel regularly visits to play with the cat. It looks very funny. The squirrel does not feel the slightest threat from the red predator, and watches its behavior with interest. These skills will help the squirrel successfully tease other cats. These domestic cats and squirrels are also best friends. They love to sleep cuddling. And it happens that squirrels and cats even become relatives. A similar story happened in one of the parks where they found 4 squirrel cubs with their mother. Something happened. The squirrels were placed on a cat who had recently given birth to kittens, and the cat accepted the squirrels, fed them and looked after them just like and for kittens. Squirrels know no bounds in their ingenuity to get to bird feeders, because you can always find tasty seeds there, and therefore you can try. This squirrel quickly realized what the catch was, and bypassed this anti-squirrel protection the second time. One can only envy the patience of this squirrel. Time after time she tries to defeat this cunning system and get to the food. Climbing up a thin, slippery pole is very difficult, but as we already know, squirrels have excellent ingenuity, and if there is a tree or other object nearby that is not difficult to climb, the squirrel will take advantage of this elevation and try to jump to the feeder. Unwinding feeders are the most vile invention, but looking at how stubbornly the squirrels try to hold on, one gets the impression that these are not bird feeders, but fun games for squirrels. These tailed rodents from the squirrel family can be found almost all over the world, from Asia to North America. The genus includes about 30 different species. Squirrels are very nimble and immensely curious animals. The most cunning squirrels have understood the main rule in their life: living next to a person is very convenient. People are always touched by their appearance, want to pet and feed them. Hang up puzzle feeders to watch the squirrels solve various problems in an attempt to get to food. And sometimes you can simply steal food by taking advantage of the moment. This squirrel is treating itself to chips. People decided to film it from the side so as not to scare it away. By the way, zoologists have found out an interesting fact. Squirrels are more willing to approach, beg and take food from adults than from children. Apparently they know that in this case the likelihood of trouble is less and no one will try to catch or grab the tail. And this squirrel regularly comes to visit, looks through the glass and gets a treat. This squirrel also knows a window where she will always be offered different nuts to choose from. In return, she just needs to pose for the camera and sometimes let herself be petted. This squirrel preferred a different tactic. It sneaks into the house unnoticed and chooses what to steal. People treat squirrels not only with nuts, but also with all sorts of human food that cannot be found in the forest, and therefore squirrels often go to all sorts of tricks to get an unusual and favorite delicacy. The half-eaten potatoes and burgers, half-drunk cola and coffee were very much to the liking of some squirrels, who now would never want to leave the city for the forest. This squirrel, for example, is used to starting the morning with coffee, but getting to it is not easy and you have to try. If you couldn't find any discarded goodies, then the doors of some stores are always open for squirrels, where you can always treat yourself to a delicious chocolate bar with nuts. A cake with pistachios is also suitable, but this squirrel was very unhappy that some woman decided to film her. After all, she is not eating this cake at her home, but in a store, so the squirrel's indignation is quite justified. And here pigeons witnessed the theft, and they would not even mind becoming accomplices, but the squirrel does not intend to share with anyone. Everyone knows that police officers love donuts, so this squirrel knows that there is a chance of finding one in a police car. Luck has smiled on this squirrel once again. Sometimes people keep squirrels as pets. In this case, they have no problems with food, and you can always examine the contents of the refrigerator. Domestic squirrels do not need to prepare supplies for the winter, because the nuts themselves appear in their feeder, and therefore they can sleep and play all their free time. By the way, squirrels are big fans of games, and when there are no cats or dogs nearby to tease, squirrels can have a great time themselves. Anything that is bad may interest a squirrel. Napkins or cotton wool from pillows are perfect for insulating your home. Squirrels are very smart animals, and this is confirmed by an amazing story told by a resident of a small American town. One day, while walking in a park near his house, a squirrel ran up to him and began to run around him. He thought that the squirrel was hungry and asking for food. There was nothing to give it, so he tried to continue his walk, but the squirrel ran forward, blocking the path, forcing him to stop. The man had repeatedly seen squirrels in this park. They were always very careful with people and avoided too close contacts, so he saw such excited behavior of an animal for the first time. The squirrel even plucked up courage and jumped onto his trouser leg. Looking into his eyes, he realized that she was where he was going, then tries to call him and went after her. The squirrel ran to a large tree, near which a baby squirrel was sitting in the grass with a broken paw. He would not have been able to climb the tree with such an injury, and therefore would soon become the prey of some predator. The man called the Animal Protection Organization and waited for the veterinarian to arrive. The story ended well. The baby squirrel was cured and returned to the same park. The intelligence of animals is sometimes surprising. The squirrel knew that it was necessary to behave with caution around people, but when a hopeless situation arose, it realized that this was the last chance and took advantage of it. Scientists who observed these animals found that squirrels make caches of supplies, and they arrange their storerooms separately from the main dwelling. They know how to group nuts by variety and remember what is hidden where. The researchers equipped the squirrels with GPS transmitters and fed them 4 varieties of nuts. The animals put different types of nuts in different caches and always returned to where they were given free food. Developed spatial memory allows squirrels to navigate the terrain and find their hiding places so well. With long-term memory, which, by the way, not all animals have, they are also fine. As animal psychologists from the University of Exeter have found, squirrels remember successful past experiences and can successfully reproduce them in similar circumstances. Scientists conducted an experiment. They taught 5 rodents to solve puzzles. In order to get a hazelnut, they had to press the lever of a special device. The training did not take much time, and if at first the squirrels spent 8 seconds on completing the task, then only 2 seconds later. The subjects were left alone for 22 months and again asked to press a lever to get a nut. The trained squirrels, after a little thought, obtained the treat within 3 seconds. If the device changed shape, from a square to a triangle, the animals still quickly coped with the task. The weight of these small rodents rarely exceeds 350 grams, while squirrels have a long, slender body up to 30 centimeters long, and a luxurious, fluffy tail. Squirrels inhabit forests, mostly coniferous, because it is there that it is easiest to get their favorite food, seeds. In the southern regions, squirrels have adapted to life in orchards and even vineyards. Living in trees, squirrels have incredible agility and mobility. It is not difficult for them to make a 4-meter-long jump, with their tails serving as the rudder. Squirrels devote most of the day to searching for food. This happens in the morning and evening. Squirrels are lovers of nuts and acorns, as well as berries, tubers, and even mushrooms. It happens that they do not hesitate to snack on larvae, insects, and even small chicks. Squirrels living in large cities have completely different behavior than forest dwellers. They interact differently with humans and can adjust their behavior. They are also physiologically different from their forest relatives. They have a different diet. There is more food, but there are practically no nuts in their diet, roughly speaking. In the forest there is nowhere for a squirrel to get white bread, but in the city you can treat it to a person, and you can find it in a garbage dump. Squirrels have adapted to life in big cities so much that they have become much more successful than their forest relatives. Rodents are able to correctly interpret human behavior based on their posture and facial expression. Squirrels try to avoid people with pets and small children, but are not at all afraid of ordinary passers-by. According to zoologists, they understand when and where food can be obtained without any risk. Therefore, it seems that city squirrels are tame. But you shouldn't be particularly touched by the fluffy animal. If a person tries to grab the fluffy beauty, the sharp teeth of a squirrel that crack the shells of strong nuts will easily bite through the hand of an adult. Friends, write your comments, which of the fragments in this episode you found the funniest. Also write what you think about these cute and funny animals, and we're off to prepare a new video for you. Well, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. If it was interesting, support the video with likes. Thank you for subscribing, and take a look at what else we have prepared for you.